The vast halls of the Galaxy Council chamber were silent. Hundreds of alien delegates, creatures of light, scales, and steel, sat frozen in disbelief. A message had just echoed across every channel, shaking the unity of the stars. The message was simple, cold, defiant. "This is Admiral Reyes of the United Terran Fleet. The Council's retreat order is noted." But humanity does not retreat. "We fight," the words hung in the air like thunder. At the far end of the chamber, the Council speaker, a tall, glowing being known as Averon, rose from his seat. His eyes burned with fear and anger. "They dare disobey the Council?" he hissed. "They defy us?" No one answered. Even the strongest empires, the Zalari, the Droth, the Luminar, remained silent. Humanity's name carried a strange weight now, a mix of fear and curiosity. They had joined the galactic community only 50 years ago, yet they had already changed everything. Across the galaxy, war burned like wildfire. A terrifying alien species known as the Karth Dominion was invading worlds, consuming planets, erasing entire civilizations. The Galaxy Council, after losing hundreds of fleets, had ordered a total retreat. "Preserve life," they said. "Abandon the outer sectors. Surrender the colonies." But humanity, small, reckless humanity, had said no. Far from the Council on the edge of the Orion Arm, a massive ship drifted in the shadows of a dying star. The UTS Vengeance, humanity's most advanced battleship, stood ready for war. Inside its command bridge, Admiral Reyes looked out at the holographic map. Red dots, enemy fleets, were closing in on a dozen human colonies. "Council forces are withdrawing," said Commander Aisha Patel, her voice tight with anger. "They've left us alone out here." Reyes didn't flinch. "Then we'll stand alone," he said quietly. "Because if we fall here, the rest of the galaxy follows." He turned to his crew, his voice steady but burning with conviction. "Humanity never asked for permission to survive. We build, we adapt, we fight. If the Council wants to hide, let them. We'll hold the line." His words spread across the comms to every ship in the fleet. From battleships to small carriers, every soldier felt a surge of pride and fear. They were outnumbered. They were abandoned. But they were human. Meanwhile, on the surface of Erevos 9, a human colony world near the front lines, panic filled the air. Families were evacuating. Soldiers rushing to defensive bunkers. The sky burned with the light of incoming ships. A young engineer, Lara Cade, stared at the horizon. The clouds were splitting open. Massive alien warships descending like black angels. She whispered to herself, "They said the Council ordered everyone to retreat." Her friend, a soldier named Juno, loaded his rifle. "Council's gone, but humanity stays." A distant rumble shook the ground. Moments later, the night sky exploded. Human defense cannons fired first, bright blue beams ripping through the dark. Enemy ships returned fire and the ground lit up like a storm. Inside the chaos, Lara's voice cracked through the comms. "Command, the shield generators are failing." "Keep them up," came the reply. "Vengeance is on its way." She looked up again. High above the battlefield, a shape emerged from the clouds. The dark, massive form of the UTS Vengeance breaking through the atmosphere. Its cannons glowed bright like small suns. "Admiral Reyes," she whispered. He really came. In orbit, Reyes watched the planet below burning. He could hear the trembling reports, the screams, the static. He could also hear the silence from the Galaxy Council. No reinforcements, no orders, nothing. He opened a channel to the enemy fleet. His voice was cold, controlled, and deadly calm. "To the Karth Dominion Commander, this sector is under human protection. You will not advance." The alien voice that replied was low and full of mockery. "You are alone, human. The Council has fled. You are nothing but insects." Reyes smiled faintly. "Then you haven't met the right insects." He turned to his officers. "Target their lead dreadnought. Fire everything." A moment later, the ship's cannons roared. The first human plasma volley struck with blinding light, ripping through enemy armor. The Karth fleet responded instantly, sending waves of energy blasts that shook the Vengeance to its core. The battle had begun. Back in the Council chamber, panic broke out. "They actually engaged?" one delegate shouted. "They'll be destroyed," cried another. Averon slammed his hand down. "They defy the Council's will. They'll bring ruin to all of us." But a quiet voice from the shadows spoke up. a Luminar scholar with glowing eyes. Or perhaps, he said slowly, they'll do what we could not. The chamber fell silent again. Across the stars, every race watched as the human fleet faced the impossible. Every broadcast, every signal carried one image. The Terran ships holding the line against an armada 10 times their size. And for the first time in centuries, the galaxy wondered, could humanity actually win? The stars burned red around Arivos 9. Explosions flashed like lightning in the black void, painting the sky with fire. The UTS Vengeance shook under constant attack, but it did not fall. On the bridge, Admiral Reyes stood firm. His uniform was torn. A thin line of blood marked his cheek, but his eyes were steady. Every screen showed chaos. Enemy ships swarming like locusts. Human destroyers spinning out of control, debris floating everywhere. Status of the defense grid? Reyes demanded. Commander Patel replied, her voice strained. Grid Alpha is gone. Beta and Gamma are still active. Shields at 37%, Reyes nodded. Then 37% is enough. Hold position. Another blast hit the ship. Sparks rained from the ceiling. The sound of groaning metal filled the bridge. A young officer stumbled but caught herself. They're trying to cut us off from the colony, she cried. Then we cut back, Reyes said. All forward batteries, fire on my mark. The ship's cannons lit up again, bright as sunrise. Dozens of human ships followed suit, forming a burning wall of plasma between Arivos 9 and the enemy. It wasn't just a defense anymore. It was defiance. Down on the planet's surface, Lara Cade could see the battle from the ground. Every explosion in the sky looked like a falling star. Her hands shook as she worked on the power conduits, trying to reroute energy to the failing shield. Commander Juno ran past her, shouting orders. Get that generator stable. If the shield drops, we're done. I'm trying, Lara yelled, sparks flying from the cable she held. It's overheating. She looked up again and saw something incredible. Despite the rain of enemy fire, the human ships were still in formation, still fighting, still holding the line. For a second, a strange calm filled her chest. They're not running, she whispered. They're really not running. Inside the alien command ship, the Karth warlord Tiral watched the human fleet with growing frustration. His armor glistened with black oil, his 4 crimson eyes narrowing in disbelief. These creatures should have broken by now, he hissed. Their ships are weak, their numbers small. His second-in-command bowed slightly. Perhaps their fear makes them reckless. No, Tiral growled. That is not fear. That is something else. He turned toward the viewing screen where the Vengeance was moving straight toward his flagship. Fools, he said. They wish for death. On board the Vengeance, alarm screamed. Admiral, the Karth flagship is locking onto us. I see it, Reyes said quietly. He leaned forward, eyes locked on the massive shadow ahead. Prepare the Nova Cannon, Commander Patel turned sharply. Sir, the Nova Cannon will overload our reactors. Reyes didn't blink. Then make sure it overloads theirs first. For a moment, silence fell over the bridge. Then every officer moved at once. They all knew what that order meant. No one hesitated. Charging Nova Cannon, 30%. 50, 70. Outside, the cannon at the front of the ship began to glow like a star being born. The energy pulse built until the air itself seemed to tremble. Admiral, Patel said quietly. Ready on your command. Reyes gave a small nod. Fire. The blast ripped through the void, pure light cutting through darkness. The beam struck the enemy flagship dead center. For a heartbeat, everything went white. Then the Karth ship erupted, fire spreading across its hull like a living thing. Cheers filled the Vengeance. They're falling back, someone shouted. The flagship's hit. But Reyes didn't smile. He knew better. This isn't over, he said softly. They never stop after one blow. At that same moment, deep within the Galaxy Council chamber, chaos reigned. Reports flooded in from every sector. The human fleet was still holding the line. Even more shocking, some alien colonies near the front had joined them, inspired by the humans' stand. They're winning? One delegate whispered. Councillor Averon slammed his hands on the table. Impossible. They defied orders. If they survive, the Council's control will crumble. But the Luminar scholar spoke again, voice calm and glowing. Perhaps control is not what the galaxy needs. Perhaps courage is. The chamber fell silent again, but outside the walls, Billions were watching the same live feed, humans standing where others had fled. Back in orbit, the aftermath of the blast left the human ships drifting through a graveyard of fire. Dozens of human vessels were gone. The Vengeance's hull was torn open in several places. "Report," Reyes said. Patel's face was pale. "We've lost the Dauntless and the Vega. Casualties, over 12,000. Reyes closed his eyes. A few seconds of silence passed. Then he said, "Transmit to all surviving ships. Message as follows. We hold the line." Patel nodded and relayed the message. It spread across every remaining ship, across Arivos 9, across the galaxy itself. Even Lara heard it through the static of her comm. "We hold the line." She whispered it back like a prayer. And as the sun rose over the burning horizon of Arivos 9, humanity's ships reformed their defense. Damaged, bleeding, outnumbered, but unbroken. The Karth reinforcements arrived moments later, black ships filling the sky again. Juno looked up from the trenches. "They're coming back!" Lara's eyes burned with tears and fire. "Then we keep fighting." High above, Admiral Reyes stood at the cracked viewport of the Vengeance, staring at the oncoming storm. He spoke softly, but every soul under his command could feel his words. "They think humans are fragile. They think fear will stop us. Let's show them what it means to stand." The dark side of Arivos 9 glowed red. Ash and debris drifted through the thin clouds like snow made of fire. The planet had become a graveyard of ships and dreams, yet somehow humanity still stood. Inside the battered UTS Vengeance, alarms flickered weakly. The air was thick with smoke, and sparks leapt from broken panels. But on the bridge, Admiral Reyes remained calm. His face was tired, his voice steady. "Status report." Commander Isha Patel wiped dust from her screen. "Shields are gone. Weapons at 20%. Life support is holding, but barely." Reyes nodded slowly. "And the enemy?" "They're regrouping," she said. 2 dreadnoughts leading the formation, 15 cruisers behind. "They're preparing for a final strike." Reyes looked at the holographic map. The human fleet, once 50 ships, was down to 12. Every surviving vessel burned, leaking energy like blood. He spoke quietly, almost to himself. "They think this is the end." Then louder, "Signal all ships. Tell them we are not finished." On the surface below, Lara Cade sat beside the broken shield generator. Her face was covered with soot, her hands shaking from exhaustion. She had been working non-stop for 30 hours. Beside her, Juno leaned on his rifle, staring at the sky. "They're coming again," he said softly. "You can see their engines through the clouds." Lara followed his gaze. Dozens of crimson lights moved slowly above the horizon, enemy ships descending. She swallowed hard. "How many civilians are left?" "Maybe 10,000, Juno said. "Mostly in the southern bunkers." "Command says the Vengeance is still fighting." Lara smiled weakly. "Of course it is." The ground shook. Distant explosions echoed like thunder. The next wave had begun. In orbit, the Karth warlord Taral watched the human fleet reforming. His red eyes glowed with cold fury. "These creatures have no sense," he hissed. "They fight when they should die." His second-in-command bowed. "They are cornered, my lord. Desperation makes them dangerous." Taral's claws clicked against the metal railing. "Then we crush their spirit." He raised his hand. "All ships, advance. No mercy." The Karth armada surged forward, black and red ships spreading across the stars like a plague. Inside the Vengeance, the crew braced for impact. Energy blasts slammed against their hull, throwing sparks and fire across the bridge. Patel shouted, "Forward shields gone. Reactor core overheating." Reyes didn't hesitate. "Divert power from the jump drive to the weapons. Focus everything on their lead dreadnought." "Sir, if we lose the jump drive, we can't escape." Reyes turned to her, his expression calm but fierce. "We were never here to escape." The order went through. The ship groaned as power rerouted to the main cannons. Every light dimmed. The Vengeance aimed straight at the largest Karth ship. "Fire!" A blinding pulse shot out, slicing through space. The human fleet joined in, a dozen ships firing together, their plasma trails lighting the void. The first Karth dreadnought exploded. The second one staggered, its armor melting. Cheers filled the bridge again, short, fierce, full of pride. But victory came at a cost. The Vengeance's hull split open along its side. Fires burned through its corridors. Crew members fought to contain the damage while smoke filled the decks. Reyes steadied himself on the console. "We're still here," he said quietly. "Keep firing." Down below, the ground battle turned into chaos. Karth landing pods slammed into the soil. Alien soldiers, tall, armored, and brutal, marched through the smoke. Juno and his squad opened fire from behind the trenches. "Hold the line," he shouted. Lara ducked behind cover, clutching a handheld transmitter. She managed to connect with the Vengeance's signal through the static. "Admiral Reyes, this is Lara Cade from Sector 12. We've got Karth troops on the ground. We can't hold much longer." The reply came after a moment of silence. Reyes' voice was calm but heavy. "We hear you, Lara. Help is coming. Just hold on." Then, in the distance, the sky ripped open again. Human dropships descending through fire. "Reinforcements." Lara gasped. "They're sending ground troops." Hundreds of armored soldiers landed amidst explosions. They fought with desperate fury, using every bullet, every blade, every ounce of strength left. The humans were tired, wounded, and outnumbered, but they refused to die quietly. Inside the council chamber, the scene from Erebos 9 played on giant screens. Delegates watched in silence as humans fought against impossible odds. Councillor Avaron stood, shouting, "They are destroying themselves. End the broadcast." But the Luminar scholar raised a hand. "No, let the galaxy see this." Billions across thousands of worlds watched. They saw humans bleeding, fighting, standing. And somewhere deep inside they felt something awaken, something they had forgotten long ago. Hope. Back in orbit, the battle raged on. One by one, human ships fell. The Vengeance's engines flickered. The main reactor hummed dangerously. "Admiral, we can't take another hit," Patel cried. Reyes looked out at the burning world below. His expression was unreadable. "Send this message to every ship still listening." He paused, then spoke clearly. "If we fall, they fall with us. Humanity burns today, but our fire will light every dark sky. Hold your ground." The transmission spread like wildfire. Across ships, soldiers, and even alien worlds still tuned to the feed. Down on Erebos 9, Lara heard the message again. "Our fire will light every dark sky," she whispered it to Juno, and he smiled through blood and smoke. "Then let's burn bright." In the final moments of the second wave, the human fleet pushed back once more. Half of the Karth armada broke formation. Some retreated. Others hesitated. Admiral Reyes watched the sensors in disbelief. "The enemy was pulling back. They're retreating?" Patel said. Reyes gave a tired smile. "No, they're rethinking." The Vengeance drifted silently among the wreckage, its engines weak but alive. The human flag still waved on its hull, scorched but unbroken. And across the galaxy, the message spread. The humans are still fighting, far away from the burning skies of Erebos 9. The Galaxy Council chamber gleamed in cold light. The Great Room, once a symbol of unity, now felt like a prison of silence. The councillors sat in their golden seats, their faces pale and nervous. Across every screen behind them, the same image played on repeat. The battered human flagship UTS Vengeance still standing, still firing. The war should have been lost hours ago, yet humanity refused to fall. Councillor Avaron, the tall, silver-skinned speaker, slammed his hand on the table. "This cannot continue. Their defiance threatens our entire system of order." The Luminar scholar, Elyar, folded his glowing hands calmly. "Order or fear?" he asked softly. Avaron glared. "Without control, there is chaos." Elyar met his gaze. "And yet Admiral Reyes's chaos is saving lives." Whispers filled the chamber. Some council members were beginning to doubt the retreat order. Others feared what the humans' defiance meant for their power. Avaron turned toward the holographic feed. The image of the Vengeance flickered across his face. "They were supposed to be our allies. Now they're a symbol of rebellion." Another voice spoke from the shadows behind the chamber. It was deep, slow, and mechanical. "You gave them strength," the voice said. "Now you must take it back." Everyone turned. From the darkness stepped a tall figure wrapped in metallic robes, the council enforcer, known only as Vorak. His face was hidden behind a mask, his body part machine, part something else. "The humans will not stop," Vorak continued. Their courage spreads like a virus. Other races watch them, and they remember what it feels like to resist. Averon frowned. Then what do you suggest? Vorak's eyes glowed red through the mask. We end the transmission. We erase the human victory before it becomes legend. Elyar stood, glowing brighter. You can't erase hope. Vorak turned toward him. Hope is dangerous, scholar. It starts wars. And with that, the lights in the chamber dimmed. Council guards began shutting down the broadcast feeds, silencing the image of Erebos 9. But unknown to them, someone was recording. Someone within the council itself. A young aide named Mira Solon, half human and half alien, watched in secret from the balcony. She clutched a small data crystal close to her chest, recording every word. They want to hide the truth, she whispered. But the galaxy deserves to know. Meanwhile, back near Erebos 9, the Vengeance floated quietly among the wreckage. The once roaring battlefield had gone strangely calm. Only the sound of damaged systems filled the ship, low, mechanical breathing. Admiral Reyes stood at the shattered viewport, his reflection flickering in the glass. Enemy movement? He asked. Commander Patel shook her head. None yet. They're regrouping again, but slowly. I think we scared them. Reyes smiled faintly. Good. Fear makes them hesitate. He looked around the bridge. His crew was exhausted, bruised, some bandaged. Yet every eye that met his held the same fire. Repair what we can, he ordered, and check for survivors from the Vega and Dauntless. No one gets left behind, Patel nodded. Yes, sir. As she turned away, Reyes took a deep breath. He knew the next wave would come soon. The Karth Dominion never stopped, but something inside him told him this battle was about more than one planet. The entire galaxy was watching. Down on the planet's surface, Lara Cade and Juno helped move wounded soldiers toward a makeshift bunker. Smoke hung thick in the air. The ground was black with ash. Lara stopped to catch her breath. Do you think the Admiral can hold them off again? Juno gave a tired grin. If anyone can, it's him. That man doesn't know how to surrender. Before Lara could reply, a faint beep came from her comm unit. She looked down and frowned. Strange. I'm getting a signal from the Council's main channel. What? Juno asked. Why would the Council contact us now? Lara played the transmission. Static filled the air, then a voice, female, urgent, afraid. This is Mira Solon, aide to the Galactic Council. They are trying to silence your fight. They plan to erase the record of Erebos 9, but I won't let them. I'm sending your live feed to every open network across the galaxy. Everyone will see what humanity has done. Lara's eyes widened. She's risking her life. Juno smiled grimly. Then we better make it worth it. At that same moment, across distant star systems, billions of screens flickered on. Aliens on desert worlds, in floating cities, on icy moons, all watched the same image. Human soldiers fighting beside burning wrecks. The Vengeance firing through smoke. The Terran flag waving amid ruins. A single caption appeared at the bottom of every feed. They refused to retreat. And the galaxy trembled. Back in the council chamber, chaos erupted. What have you done? Averon shouted as news feeds across the sectors began broadcasting the human battle. Vorak turned sharply toward the shadows. Find the leak, he roared, but it was too late. The truth was out. Elyar's voice echoed across the chamber. You cannot stop them now. The humans have lit a fire and it burns in all of us. Averon slammed his fist down, his voice shaking with rage. Then we will burn them back. He pointed at Vorak. Send the enforcers. If the humans want war, we'll give them extinction. The chamber filled with shouting as orders spread. Fleets began to mobilize. The Council, afraid of losing control, had just declared war on humanity. On the Vengeance, the first warnings came through the encrypted channels. Admiral, Patel said softly, new signatures detected. Not Karth, these are Council ships. Reyes looked up slowly. His eyes hardened. So, he said. Now the galaxy wants to fight us too. Patel's voice trembled. Sir, what do we do? Reyes stared out at the stars, each one glowing like a promise. He spoke quietly, almost smiling. We show them why humanity never backs down. The stars of Sector 19 flickered red as new fleets entered the system. But this time, they weren't the enemy humanity had been fighting before. They were ships of the Galaxy Council, sleek, silver, and countless in number. On board the UTS Vengeance, sirens screamed again. The tired crew turned their eyes to the radar. The new formation was approaching fast. Hundreds of ships under the Council's banner. Commander Patel froze. "Sir, they're not Karth, they're Council vessels." Admiral Reyes's expression turned to steel. "So it's official. They've chosen fear over reason." The Vengeance's bridge went silent. No one spoke. Everyone knew what this meant. Humanity had just become the galaxy's new enemy. Far away in the Galaxy Council chamber, chaos filled the room. Counselor Averon stood before a huge holographic map showing the human colonies. "Strike before they rise further," he ordered. "Wipe out their fleets. Show the galaxy that defiance has a cost." The Luminar scholar Eliar rose from his seat. "You are making a mistake, Averon. They saved your worlds from the Karth." Averon's silver eyes blazed. "They disobeyed the Council. They broke unity." Eliar stepped closer. "No, they showed us courage." Guards moved between them, separating the two. Averon turned away, voice cold. "Prepare the Enforcer fleets. Humanity's fire ends here." From the shadows, the masked figure Vorik nodded. "As you command." Back near Erivos 9, the space around the planet turned into a storm of light. Council warships spread out like a metallic ocean. Reyes watched from the Vengeance's bridge. "They've brought everything," he said quietly. Patel bit her lip. "Sir, we can't fight both the Karth and the Council. We'll be crushed between them." Reyes didn't answer. His gaze drifted to the stars where the Karth armada still waited in the distance, also regrouping. Two massive forces, both preparing to strike humanity, and in between them, one human fleet broken and bleeding, refusing to yield. Reyes exhaled slowly. "We can't win by fighting both sides," he said. "But maybe we can make them fight each other." Patel looked up. "Sir, open a channel to the Karth flagship," he said. Inside the enormous Karth command ship, Warlord Tiral was already watching the incoming Council fleets. His red eyes burned with anger. "The cowards return," he hissed. "They hide while others bleed, and now they claim victory." A transmission suddenly appeared on his screen. The image of Admiral Reyes flickered into view. Tiral growled. "Human?" Reyes met his glare. "You want to destroy us. The Council wants to destroy us. But right now they want to destroy you too." Tiral leaned forward. "You think I care about their betrayal?" "No," Reyes said calmly. "But you care about power. And if you let them take this sector, you lose it all." Tiral stared in silence. His claws tapped the metal armrest slowly. Reyes continued, his tone sharp as a blade. "You hate us. We hate you, fine. But if we both fall, the Council wins. Help us break their fleets. Then we settle our war afterward." The alien warlord didn't answer right away. For several long seconds, the line stayed open, filled only with static and heavy breathing. Then Tiral spoke. "You are insane, human." Reyes gave a thin smile. "Maybe, but insanity wins wars." The line cut off. Minutes later, the battle began. The Council's fleets opened fire first, streams of plasma and railgun rounds lighting the void. Human ships scattered, forming defensive arcs around Erivos 9. "Brace for impact," shouted Patel. The Vengeance shuddered as explosions tore through the hull. A reactor warning flashed red. But before the next volley could strike, something massive appeared behind the Council ships. Dark shadows blocking the starlight. The Karth armada had arrived. "They're attacking the Council." Patel shouted in disbelief. The Council ships broke formation, turning to fight the new threat. The sky became chaos, 1,000 lights colliding, ships exploding in every direction. Reyes watched the madness unfold. "They took the bait," he said. Patel stared at him. "You played them both. Not for glory," he said quietly. "For time." Down on the surface, Lara, Cade, and Juno looked up at the sky that now burned brighter than ever before. They didn't know who was winning. They only knew they were still alive. "Is that the Council?" Juno asked. Lara nodded slowly. "And the Karth. They're fighting each other." She turned to her console, trying to restore communication with the orbiting fleet. "Come on, Admiral. Tell me this is your plan." In the chaos of orbit, the Vengeance drifted through wreckage. Explosions flashed outside every window. "Sir, the Council fleet is splitting," Patel reported. "Half their ships are turning against the Karth. The others are still coming for us." Reyes nodded. Then we hit the ones coming our way. Sir, our ammo is almost gone. Then throw rocks if we must, he interrupted. We don't stop now. The bridge crew moved like a single machine. Every shot, every maneuver felt slower but sharper. The Vengeance fired again and again, its cannons glowing white-hot. Outside, a council battleship broke apart under human fire. Another was struck by a Karth missile. The sky became a battlefield of 3 armies, none willing to surrender. Meanwhile, back at the council chamber, reports flooded in. Averon stood frozen. What do you mean the Karth are attacking our ships? An aide stammered, They appear to have turned on us, sir. Human interference suspected. Averon's face twisted with rage. Reyes? Eliar stepped forward, voice calm but full of warning. You started a war you couldn't control. Averon glared at him. And you will pay for your weakness. Guards moved toward Eliar, but the scholar vanished in a burst of white light, teleporting away. For the first time, Averon realized he had lost control. Back on the Vengeance, the battle was nearing its end. Both the Karth and Council fleets were shattered. Dozens of ships burned silently in orbit. Patel looked up from her console. Sir, the Karth are retreating. Reyes nodded slowly. And the Council? Half destroyed. The rest pulling back. The bridge was quiet for a long moment. Then someone whispered, We survived. Reyes turned toward the stars. For now, he said softly. But this was only the beginning. He knew the truth. What started as a single defiance had turned into a storm that would shake the galaxy itself. The war had ended, at least for now. The stars above Erevos 9 were filled with the debris of broken ships. The silence after the storm felt unreal. Every survivor could still hear the echoes of explosions in their minds. The UTS Vengeance floated among the ruins, its engines barely holding together. On its bridge, the crew sat in exhausted silence. Commander Patel finally spoke, her voice low. Admiral, it's over. Admiral Reyes didn't answer immediately. He looked out the shattered viewport at the glowing wrecks of Council and Karth ships. No, he said quietly. It's not over. This was only one battle. The galaxy just witnessed what humans can do. That changes everything. Down on Erevos 9, the survivors were rebuilding what little they had. Lara Cade worked with engineers, using scorched metal and broken drones to make shelters. The air smelled of ash and ozone. When a transmission suddenly came through, she dropped her tools and ran to the nearest screen. The face of Admiral Reyes appeared, tired, bruised, but alive. People of Earth colonies, he began. We've survived the impossible. The Council came to erase us. The Karth came to enslave us. And yet here we stand, broken but unbent. Crowds began gathering around every working terminal, listening to his voice echo across systems. Reyes continued. They call us defiant, dangerous, reckless, maybe they're right. But we fight because no one else will fight for us. Lara felt a shiver run through her. His words were spreading faster than light itself, broadcast across human colonies and even intercepted by alien channels. This isn't just survival, Reyes said. This is a message. Humanity will never kneel again. In the heart of the Galaxy Council chamber, panic was rising. Counselor Averon slammed his hand against the table. Cut the signal. Shut it down! A communications officer replied nervously. We can't, sir. The message has spread through independent relay stations. Every colony, every border world is hearing it. Averon's face twisted with fury. Then they will burn with him. But Eliar, the Luminar scholar who had escaped earlier, appeared in the chamber through a holographic projection. His voice was calm, but there was fire in his tone. You can't silence truth, Averon. You created your own enemy the moment you underestimated them. Averon sneered. You sympathize with them? Eliar's image flickered. I admire courage when I see it. The galaxy is tired of your control. Humanity is only the first to stand up. Then the hologram vanished. In the following days, something unexpected began to happen. Across different sectors of the galaxy, alien species, ones long oppressed or ignored by the Council, started to rise in protest. Small planets refused Council orders. Fleets began defecting. Some even sent secret messages to human colonies offering help. In the outer systems, old enemies suddenly wanted to talk peace. Reyes watched reports come in on his cracked datapad. The galaxy's changing faster than anyone expected, he murmured. Patel stood beside him. They're calling it the spark, sir. Your speech, spreading like fire. Reyes gave a faint smile. Then maybe the fire was needed. Meanwhile, on Erebos 9, Lara met with a group of alien envoys, small, gray-skinned beings known as the Varn. They had once served the council but had now deserted. Their leader bowed slightly. We saw what your kind did, human. You stood when all others knelt. We wish to join you, Lara was surprised. Join us? You know the council will come for you. The Varn smiled faintly. Let them. We have hidden too long. Your courage woke us up. Lara looked up at the sky. Then welcome to the fight. At the same time, far from Erebos 9, the Karth warlord Taral sat alone in his dim war chamber. His lieutenants watched in silence as he stared at a screen showing Reyes' speech replaying again and again. A human had united half the galaxy without even meaning to. Taral finally spoke. This human is dangerous. One of his captains asked, shall we strike them while they rebuild? Taral's eyes glowed red. No, let them rebuild. Let them grow strong. When we fight again, I want it to be a real war. He looked out into the dark void. The galaxy needs a storm. Humanity will bring it. Back aboard the Vengeance. Patel brought new data to the Admiral. Sir, the Council is regrouping near the Centauri line. They're forming what they call the Unity Armada. Looks like they're planning a full-scale counterattack. Reyes nodded. They'll come with everything they have. What do we do? She asked. He looked at her, his expression calm but determined. We build. We prepare. And when they come, we won't just fight for Earth. We'll fight for every world that dares to be free. Patel saluted. Yes, sir. Days turned into weeks. Human engineers, alien allies, and surviving soldiers worked side by side, building new ships, repairing weapons, forming a resistance network across the stars. Lara Cade was assigned to lead one of the first mixed crews, a symbol of the new unity. Her ship was small, but its name carried power, the Dawnfire. When she launched for the first time, people across colonies watched. The sight of that ship rising from Erebos 9 became a new symbol, one of hope and defiance. In the quiet of space, Admiral Reyes recorded a private message. This is Admiral Elias Reyes, Earth Defense Command, he began. If you're hearing this, you are part of something greater than survival. You are the beginning of a revolution. He paused, then smiled slightly. They told us to stand down. But humanity doesn't stand down. We stand together. He ended the recording and looked out at the stars one last time before turning away. The galaxy had changed forever. The galaxy was changing. World by world, colony by colony, the chains of the Galaxy Council were breaking. It began as whispers. Then it became a spark. And soon, it was fire. The spark of humanity had turned into a full-scale rebellion that no one could control. From the command bridge of the UTS Vengeance, Admiral Elias Reyes watched the latest transmission. Across the stars, hundreds of fleets, human, alien, and hybrid, had begun to rise. Reports coming in from the Zynar cluster, sir, said Commander Patel. Another council world just declared independence. Reyes leaned forward, eyes fixed on the map glowing in front of him. Red dots, representing rebel systems, were spreading fast across the galactic spiral. Each one of those dots, he said quietly, started with one word. No. Patel smiled faintly. They're calling it the Dawnfire movement. Reyes raised an eyebrow. Named after Lara's ship? Yes, sir. Her broadcast reached over 40 worlds. She's becoming a symbol. Reyes looked at the stars and murmured, Good. Symbols matter. They keep the fire burning when hope fades. Scene Erebos 9. The surface of Erebos 9 was alive again. Factories hummed, docks filled with new ships, some built by humans, others by their new alien allies. Lara Cade stood on the command deck of the UTS Dawnfire, her new uniform still bearing burns from her last battle. Her crew was mixed. Humans, Varn engineers, and 2 Luminar scientists. Status report, she called out. All systems green, Captain, replied Juno, her loyal second-in-command. We're ready to launch. Lara looked out the viewport where distant stars shimmered like sparks waiting to ignite. "This is it," she whispered. "The beginning of something bigger." Juno grinned. "You mean the rebellion?" Lara shook her head. "No, the future." Scene: the council chamber high above the core worlds. The Galaxy Council met in panic. Counselor Averon slammed his hands on the glowing table. "Do you understand what they've done? Humanity's rebellion is spreading. Cross-species, even the old allies are turning." Another counselor, trembling, replied, "Perhaps we should negotiate." Averon's voice roared. "Negotiate? With primitives? Never." He turned to the massive holographic display of the galaxy, half of it now glowing red. "Activate Project Obsidian. If they want war, we will end it in one strike." "Sir, that weapon is not ready," warned an aide. "It could destroy entire systems." Averon's eyes glowed with fury. "Then let it burn." Scene: the Vengeance. Back on the Vengeance, Admiral Reyes received the report. Patel rushed to him, panic in her tone. "Sir, Council Command has activated a weapon called Project Obsidian. If they use it, it could wipe out entire star clusters, including ours." Reyes clenched his fists. "So they're going to end the galaxy rather than lose control?" Patel nodded grimly. "Exactly." He turned toward the window, voice calm but heavy. "Then we stop them, whatever it takes." Scene: Lara's mission. The Dawnfire received its orders. Sneak behind Council lines, locate the weapon's core, and disable it before it fires. As Lara's ship jumped through hyperspace, her crew prepared in silence. Juno checked the coordinates. "Captain, will be deep inside enemy territory. If they catch us..." "They won't," Lara interrupted, "because we're not just fighting for Earth anymore. We're fighting for every world that believes in freedom." The ship exited hyperspace into a dark, massive field of wreckage, ancient stations orbiting a dead star. In the center of it, a structure unlike anything they'd seen glowed with purple light. "The Obsidian Core," whispered Juno. Lara stared in awe. "Let's end this." Scene: Infiltration Dawnfire's team boarded the core through a broken maintenance hatch. Inside, they found a vast chamber filled with pulsating energy, like a heart beating for destruction. As they moved deeper, alarms blared. Council security drones swarmed in. "Contact!" shouted Juno. Blaster fire lit up the corridor. Lara dove behind cover, returning fire with precision. The air was thick with smoke and sparks. "Juno, plant the EMP charges." He nodded and ran forward, sliding under a drone's blast before slamming the device into a control panel. Lara covered him, her rifle glowing red-hot. "Now, Juno!" 3 seconds, he yelled. The explosion shook the chamber. Lights flickered and died. Then, silence. Scene: final transmission from orbit. Admiral Reyes watched his screen as the core's energy levels dropped to 0. Patel turned to him, a smile breaking through her exhaustion. "They did it, sir. The weapon's offline." Reyes exhaled, relief and pride mixing in his voice. "Send a message to all fleets. The galaxy is free to choose its own fate." Patel nodded. "Yes, Admiral." Scene: the speech that changed everything. Hours later, Reyes stood before a holo camera, his image broadcast across 1,000 systems. "This is Admiral Elias Reyes of Earth Defense Command," he said, his voice strong and steady. "The Council tried to silence us. They tried to destroy us, but humanity does not fall. We rise, and now so does the galaxy." He looked straight into the lens. "To every world that dares to be free, this is your time. The fire has begun. Let it spread." The screen faded to black, but his words echoed across the stars. Scene: the aftermath. Weeks later, the Council had fallen. Some members fled. Others joined the new alliance. The Dawnfire and Vengeance were hailed as legends. Lara and Reyes became names spoken in reverence across space, symbols of courage and unity. In the new capital built on Erebos 9, banners fluttered under alien suns. Humanity had not conquered the galaxy. They had inspired it. In the quiet of night, Lara stood alone on the balcony of the rebuilt command center. Juno walked up beside her. "It's finally over." Lara smiled faintly. "No, it's just beginning." He looked confused. What do you mean? She looked at the stars, millions of them, shining bright and endless. Freedom isn't a destination, Juno. It's the fire we keep alive. The camera panned upward, showing the galaxy burning with light, 1,000 worlds rising together,